we have drastically improved the customer experience. Drastically. We present better candidates faster than anybody in the business. Our repeat business went from 1.2 placements on average to 3 placements on average. So our clients are coming back for more and more and more talent. And then we do some referral stuff to bring in new business, but we have yet to figure out like a real paid growth channel for this. I think it's outside sales and inside sales that really separate these companies apart. That's why we're super, super tuned in to our close percentages by cohort. And I'm watching every single salesperson, and I'm watching our sales close rates go up, frankly. So yeah, it's working every part of the funnel, from lead, where it comes from, to how many of them book a meeting, how many of them engage for search, how many of them actually hire and pay us, all the way through. So yeah, I'm learning a lot about operating.
Yeah. Well, it's one of these where the pain of a crisis forces you to strengthen the organization. So this is all, you're emerging as a much better organization, better sales motion, tighter funnel, better upselling, better, retention of existing customers and expansion of that revenue, all stuff that would have been sound to target anyway, but you were just kind of forced to prioritize
None of my recruiters were on variable compensation. Now they're on over half of their compensation is variable. Their best recruiters are making very good money. Same with sales. There's no variable compensation. There was no sourcing efforts to run ads and do LinkedIn outreach and find referrals for the best candidates that have jobs. So yeah, it's just improving every little part of the company that over time shows itself. But the first year, those things take time.
Yeah. Walk me through where your executive team is located. Are they remote? I presume so.
Head of finance is in Joburg. Head of revenue operations is in Joburg. Head of sales is in Joburg. Head of recruiting ops is in Cape Town. Head of sourcing is in Manila. So yeah, it's the leaders of the company are in South Africa. I'm learning a lot about building executive teams worldwide as well.
And on our pre-call, you said something about a major workforce coming from South Africa every tax season to the United States to do Fortune 500 taxes. Can you remind me what you had said about that?
Yeah, every year, 30,000 chartered accountants from South Africa fly to DC, New York, Philadelphia, and do corporate tax and audit work for Fortune 500 companies and Price Waterhouse, Deloitte, and so on. So there's a massive finance culture and sales culture in South Africa. And so, yeah, when they go back to Joburg, they don't want to hit the road for 4 months again and be away from their families. So they want to work remote for US businesses. And, $4,000 a month puts you in the top 0.1% of earners in the whole country.
And Joburg is really the financial capital of the continent, is it not?
Oh, yeah. It's just like London, just like New York City, as far as the work culture there. Mm-hmm. There's some massive issues in South Africa with the government, the corruption. They raised billions of tax dollars to rebuild the power grid, and the politicians stole all of the money, so the power grid does not function. Like in the hot season, it's winter now, but in the summer, there's load shedding in every major city for 4-6 hours a day with no electricity and no AC.
Yeah,
they're living in South Africa with no electricity, which is a basic fundamental thing. Those are issues you don't run into, even with all the corruption in Mexico and some other places. You don't run into that. The utilities are sound in Bogota, in Sao Paulo, Brazil, in Rio de Janeiro, in Mexico City. So people do those things themselves. Like the high earners in South Africa have their own power, it's their own security.
So they're working from home largely, with their own generators?
Yeah, they have their own office outside of their house. Like, again, $4,000 or $5,000 a month in South Africa is $200,000 a year in the United States. So they have large homes with separated offices and their own power. They have to do their own power because the government doesn't solve that for them.
And Nick, what of the time zone difference? So we all understand that that's complicated in the Philippines. Anybody who's worked with somebody over there has to deal with that. Sometimes you can have people work Philippine nights, our daytime. There's a debate whether or not that's effective.
20.
But when we're talking about management, your actual your executive team being on a different time zone, how do you deal with that?
Yeah, so 5 o'clock Eastern time is 11 p.m. in Joburg. So it's not. They don't have to they don't have to live a different life, if that makes sense. Your Filipino talent, your India talent, your Sri Lankan talent, your Pakistani talent, they have to live a different lifestyle to work for a U.S. business. 20 million people in the Philippines do. 20 million people in the Philippines do. And it's almost all the high earners do in the Philippines, frankly. I love Latin America. If you don't need the professional maturity to deal with bankers, clients, customer, sales, high-end sales, if you don't need the professional maturity and the smooth British accent, hire in Latin America. Just do it, because they're on the same time zone. For $480, we can get our team in Bogota, Colombia to Atlanta, Georgia for an outing in person. It's a 6-hour flight from Bogota. Mexico City's even shorter. So yeah, there's massive advantages to Latin America. But sales and finance, South Africa is the hub, and executive.